Hi, welcome. On this video, I want to discuss what I call the stumbling stone as it pertains to this very popular idea in the dog training community that training is a learning-based exercise. And even pertaining to trainers who approach relationship problems with dogs as owners within the framework of a permissive approach. The trust method, as some trainers define what they're doing. Play, drive-based training as well. Again, I talk about very specific as to what the core issue is, what the real problem is in the dog training world. And I'm specific in terms of perception of dogs not changing at the level that these trainers assume that they are. And again, this is where, I call it the question of the century, because it is. It's both a question and a statement at the same time. And I posted it at the top of my Facebook page. You can go look at it. It's right there. And it's the question is, what is the criteria that all of these trainers, they're calling themselves experts, on both sides, are using to establish that the perceptions of dogs are changing the right way and at the level that they assume that they are within the framework of response, That is the question of the century, and that's a question that none of these trainers has answered or will be able to answer, based again on what they're marketing. So again, I talk about, influence and control, being the criteria, being reconciled, by way of a intentional interaction-based method that speaks the right language, I talk about certain themes such as intent, dog understanding intent, and again, in terms of both revealing and changing. So revelation by way of the current state of the relationship, information in moments, in real time as you're interacting with a dog that has gained a level of control in the relationship, and perceptions changing in terms of diminishment of unwanted behavioral issues, in terms of, and again, I'm very specific about influence and control in terms of intercepting, an expressed state of mind of the dog, the issue of stinking thinking. So again, going this whole thing about trainers are not dialed in that way at all, and again, what they're doing, how they're engaging a relationship problem and motivating dogs to respond in the middle of a relationship problem while assuming that those responses can be trusted. This is why I say when you're petting on a dog, you're assuming something. And I talk about all of it. I lined it all up. Again, this is a original source system of training. But again, that question of the century is there. Now here's the thing, and this is a pattern, And if you go in my YouTube channel, you'll see the situation, One of them is by way of a gentleman calls himself the anti-dog trainer. Go look at how that whole situation unraveled, at the point of contention. At the point of, again, I put out this, loose leash video, and everything just started unraveling very quickly because that's the point. So beyond all the comments, again, a lot of these trainers, you go in, you see it, they'll play nice, right? As long as you're kind of coming alongside what they're advocating. But the moment you get to the heart of what the problem is in the dog training world, that's when you're going to see the mask come off. And again, this is why I went on Zach George's live stream. I caught him on a live stream, asked that specific question. Guess why he took down a live stream? So because that's the point. You see all these trainers going back and forth, within their ideological comfort zone, regardless of whether it's balanced, force free. They're happy to bring certain people on their podcast because they're still allowed to say and market what they're doing. It's this type of dysfunctional thing. It's kind of almost like a codependent thing, because understand that both these groups of trainers, balanced and force free, they're joined at the hip by way of this idea of what training is. I talk about the inherent problems with it. Again, very specific. So all to say, take a look at the information I put out. I've put out, lots of information. You'll see the entire situation there unravel. Understand that is the playbook of these trainers. That's why personal attacks, cheap shots, But anything except answering, responding to what I'm saying is the real issue, because they're not going to go there, and they can't. And I get into that. So you take a look at the anti-dog training situation as an example of that. But this is why, again, people say, well, Dale, they want to debate or engage because they want to stay within their kind of fly zone. Because then once it gets to the level, it's all personal attacks and cheap shots. That's all you're dealing with. Okay. So again, the question's up there. I encourage you to take a look at it. I've put out lots of great content. My whole Flipping the Script series is there. The whole situation with the anti-dog trainer is there. You can look at that as a type, okay, because that's exactly what it is. That's just the typical way this is all gone down and will continue to go down. But meanwhile, the dog training world is coming apart at the seams. I'm very specific, and people don't want to deal with it. But again, I put that question up there. It's the core question. You can check it out. It's on my Facebook page. But for me, right at this moment, again, I'm going to be focusing in on, investing in those who are seeking real answers. My goal all along has been always to help people on their journey. There's so much to be gained through that journey. But again, there has to be a trade-off. You have to let it go. This idea of things. This is I approach training for what it is. It's an intervention. And so again, this system training is very specific to that. It's an original source system. You can't intermix. Okay, I talked about this whole thing about intermixing. And so the system of training answers the questions. So all to say that I'm going to be focusing in on, moving forward from here, on those who are invested in the system. So I'm going to be continue to release lots of content in my member area. The Flipping the Script series is going to continue in that area. But in terms of me engaging the corrupt, turned over dog training community, no. Okay, I'm not interested in foolishness. This is why, again, I remove comments, I ban people, because that question is the core question. It's right up there. So the dog training community is continuing to try to push all this forward. I talk about all the issues. So I'm here to help people. I'm here to help dogs the right way. If you have questions, if you need help, contact me. In terms of my content, you check out the member area option. I'm going to be continuing my Flipping the Script series there. Other series, I have lots of great content within that area, so that's where you'll find me, okay, in there, helping people on their journey. I will respond occasionally on social media, but again, just if you want to know, okay, an idea as to where the dog training community is at, what's going on, check out my YouTube channel. Everything's there. You can look at it and you can come to your own conclusions as to what's really happening. Thanks for watching.